Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser, and we are modelling for advantage. Today we're going to have a look at the new combat patrol. Got some reinforcements for my Deathguard here. Really hoping to see a bit more from them. I'll have more on these later. Keep an eye on the Facebook page. So I'm going to check the codex as we go through. So we're getting here. Unfortunately, Mr. Johnny B's not with us today. He's not dead or anything. It's just because of the lockdown situation. He's not going to be able to sit beside me for a long time, I don't think. What are we getting here? According to the box, we get 39 miniatures, which is quite a bit more than the sort of 10 to 15 we've been seeing in the Space Marine ones. We're going to get 30 Poxwalkers, 7 Plague Marines, the Biologist Putrifier, and Typhus, Herald of the Plague God. I've already got all of these miniatures, of course, because there's nothing new in here. This guy came separately, again, more on him on another time. But let's have a look, see what the models are like. If you've not seen these before, these are not the models from Dark Imperium. So if the only Deathguard you've got is from Dark Imperium, then this is okay. So we get our new format, a full colour destruction booklet, with the new universal language stat sheet on the back. These have been quite handy to people looking to preview stuff because they're giving you the stats for all the weapons. And just looking at this sheet gives you an indication of just how many different weapons are available to the Plague Marines. If you've not seen these instructions before, they're pretty solid. Not only are they in colour, it's like the blue bit is the new bit you're adding, the yellow is where you put the glue, purple is when you've got different options. It's quite good because, as important as we look at these sprues, you do want to have a look at the instructions, I think, because they're like monopose. Even the new multi-part Marines, only certain pieces go together. So there's a few universal chest plates, but they don't. It's not that everything fits everything. Definitely, if you're going to kit bash these and mess around with them, dry fit everything before you start gluing, because you may just find when you come to put that plasma gun on that the guy's belly is too big and the gun doesn't fit in the arms. We got some bases for our Marines. We got some bases for our Poxwalkers. We got a Typhus sprue. We got our Biologist Putrifier sprue. Spew is probably appropriate being Deathguard. We have got 3 sprues of Poxwalkers. Now, I started by saying that this was not the stuff from Dark Imperium, but actually, now I come to think about it, these Poxwalkers are, right down to the fact that you get half a Marine. There is a bit of a Plague Marine here, because the rest of him was on a different sprue in that Dark Imperium set. Now, you may be able to kit bash this guy with the bits left over from the other Marines, but I doubt it somehow. We'll have to see. So 3 of those for your 30 Poxwalkers. And then our Plague Marines multi-part kit comes across 3 sprues here. And finally, I thought Typhus was looking a bit lean on just the one of these. Yeah, there's the rest of Typhus. Big old base for Typhus. Decent sized base for our Biologist Putrifier. So, there's no new models here. But let's have a look at how these models are going to perform. So first up then, Typhus. Get you some stills. I built my Typhus. He does have this nest of flies on the back of him, which I don't really like the look of. Some people do, some people don't. It's a bit of a Marmite thing. I left mine off, but I'll show you a photograph of my painted Typhus for you to look at. But Typhus is a hugely improved model, which is really pleasing. He previously only had the 4 attacks and he was movement 4, which meant he just never got anywhere. You teleported him in, and if he didn't make his 9-inch charge, and even though his weapon did 3 damage, with only 4 attacks, often one of those would fail to go through. He just wasn't putting out damage in the way that Demon Princes or Universal Space Marine Captains with Thunderhammer were doing. It was a real shame. So really glad to see that. He's gone up to 6 wounds and 6 attacks. Brilliant. So rules-wise, in keeping with the Typhus as Lord of the Poxwalkers, he does have this Master of the Dead who walk an aura ability. Poxwalker unit within 6 inches of this model. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the strength characteristic. Now, Poxwalkers have already gone up to toughness 4. I think we'll see that later. So making him strength 4 as well, that's a significant improvement on Poxwalkers, and it keeps Typhus in that role as sort of Lord of the Poxwalkers. And what I like about this box, even though I don't need it, I've already got 50 Poxwalkers and a Typhus. What I do like about this box is it is a leveraged force. It is the models fit well together, I think. So it is a way to play Deathguard, not necessarily the way, and they're often quite a random selection of models in here. So Typhus's data sheet is actually quite difficult now. I was ready to move on from Typhus, but it needs a second look. So host of the Destroyer Hive, those flyers that I mentioned earlier, that used to be a pistol. Now it's a unique rule. In your command phase, you can select one enemy unit within 6 inches of this model and roll a d6. On a 2-up, it suffers d3 mortal wounds. And that's a much better rule. Not only does it mean it's moving from the shooting phase to the command phase, but it's just a simple roll and it's mortal wounds. The idea that these flies were operating as some kind of pistol with which came certain limitations and certain advantages, this just keeps it clean and moves it onto that mortal wound mechanic, which makes it universally useful. There used to be a lot more shots that did decent damage but with low strength, I think. So he's still got his 4-up save. He's also got Lord of the Deathguard. An aura. While friendly Deathguard are within 6 inches of this model, that unit makes an attack and reroll hit rolls of 1. So given the aura of reroll 1s, brilliant universal rule that Space Marines get. I'm not sure that he had that last time either. Vector of disease, add 3 inches to the contagion range of all contagion abilities this model has, and that can put that range out to 12 inches. So this is a new rule, or set of rules that the Deathguard have this kind of plague effect, which grow during the course of the battle and become more widespread. Now I like that kind of disease Nurgle thing, and Typhus's ones are just a little bit longer range. He's also the Herald of Nurgle. This model can be included in any Deathguard detachment without preventing other units in that detachment from carrying a Plague Company contagion. This model can only carry a Plague Company contagion if it is in a Harbinger detachment. So he has the Harbinger Plague Company as a keyword, but if you put him in a different Plague Company, it doesn't adversely affect them. It only prevents him from getting his special ability there. He remains a Psyche, he's got Smite and 2 other powers, and his weapon has got a little bit better. He's now got a secondary attack mode. The Cleave mode is pretty much as we knew before, but he has a Scythe mode if you find a lot of models where it can make 2 rolls instead of 1, but the damage has gone down. Typhus, vastly improved model. At power level 9 though, he is competing directly with a Demon Prince, and I'm still not sure he's as good. So the Biologist Putrid then, he looks pretty much the same as before, with his 5-inch move, 5 toughness, 4 wounds, 4 attacks. The 4 attacks might be a slight improvement. He has the Hyper Blight Grenades, which were like Blight Grenades but are better. Grenade D6, strength 4, AP -1, 2 damage. The Blight Rack's aura is he can make other Plague Marines nearby, well, Bubonic Astartes within 6 inches, they will have an armor penetration of -1 and damage 2 as well. Putrid Explosion, he blows up when you kill him because he's full of gloop. And then Foul Infusion, interesting roll. Once per turn, at the start of either your charge phase or the fight phase, select one friendly Plague Company core unit within 6 of this model. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack with a plague weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts a mortal wound. Plague Company core units. Does that include Poxwalkers? Because if it does, he's a fantastic inclusion in this force. So let's just have a look, see if Poxwalkers are Plague Company core units. They are Plague Company. But they are not core. That's such a shame. Ah, well, still good though. Still good. Poxwalkers then, much improved. Poxwalkers have gone down to 2 power level for 10, or I think they're 5 points a model. Their strength is still 3, but their toughness has gone up to 4. They still have the 2 attacks, and they still hit on 4s all the time. They used to hit on 5s unless there was 11 or more of them. Let's have a look at their special abilities then. Curse of the Walking Pox. Each time a melee attack is made by a model in this unit, if an enemy model is destroyed, one of this unit's destroyed models is added back to it with 1 wound remaining. So this is the thing they had before. If they kill a model, they get a model back. Mindless Horde. This unit cannot perform actions, so that's a liability in terms of the mission structures. And if it's crusading, it can't gain experience points or battle honours. Fodder. This unit automatically passes morale. And then the old style Feel No Pain, this unit has it. Because it has a 7-up save, it was never going to get a saving throw, and I was wondering what they were doing. On Ending Horde, each time a model in this unit would lose a wound, roll d6, and on a 6, that wound is not lost. So it's not as good as the old Disgustingly Resilient. The new Disgustingly Resilient doesn't work on 1 wound models anyway, but at least they've got something of a save. They've got a 6-up, Feel No Pain. This is a great kit. It's this new multi-part monopose stuff. You can make some lovely models out of these, which they illustrate in here. If there's a problem with this kit though, it's that you only kind of get 1 of each weapon. So if you want a squad with a load of blight launchers, I think there's only 1 of them in here. If you want a load of plasma guns, I think there's only 1 of them in here. And at 30 quid for 7, you're going to need to get a lot of kits if you want your force in a particular direction. I mean, one of the things that you really want is like the Great Plague Cleaver, or the Mace Axe combo, or the Flail, or the melee options. You want to put multiple of those in a single unit if you're making a melee unit, and you only get 1 on the sprue. And not only do you only get 1 on the sprue, but they'll only go on certain body shapes, because as I mentioned before about how the arms fit round the belly and all of the other kind of buboes and tentacles and bits that stick out of them, which is a real shame. But Plague Marines have had a huge power increase. Let's have a look at their stat line. The movement is still 5, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, 2 wounds, big deal. 2 attacks, big deal. So this is a step change from the way they were before. The Disgustingly Resilient has been changed, so 2 damage weapons become 1 damage weapons, which is so much more powerful because it's reliable. A 3 damage weapon is still going to kill them outright, but it was anyway under the old system. And they just don't cost the points that I thought they might. At 6 power for 5 models, that's not bad at all. You can take them still in units of... I might be missing something here, but I'm not seeing a maximum unit size on there. It says if it contains 6 or more models, it goes to power 8 and 12. But I don't think I see an upper limit. There may be something in the mainstream rules that's preventing that, but conceivably, these could potentially have enormous units. Who knows? Ah, well. The weapon options are unchanged from before at first glance, and the weapons themselves, there's a little bit of change. Axes and swords have changed a bit in 9th edition, but fundamentally what's making them a good unit now is because they were just grossly overpointed for what they did before. Now the relationship between their durability, their combat power and their points seems pretty on par. I mean, I'm really looking forward to having a go with some Plague Marines. Try and put some value on this then. Well, we know that Typhus is 25 quid. We know that the Biologist Putrid is 15, so that's 40. The 7 Plague Marines are 30 quid, so that takes us to 70. So what value do we assess the 30 Poxwalkers at? Even at £1 a model, that takes us to £100 in value. I don't think this set is fantastic value by any means, partly because I don't think many Deathguard players actually need these models. If you had a Dark Imperium, you had 20 Poxwalkers. If you really wanted to go into that, going up to 50, yeah, definitely worth thinking about. Another 7 Plague Marines, yeah, Plague Marines are back in. But if you were serious about your Deathguard, you already got a Typhus, you already got 50 Poxwalkers, you already got as many Plague Marines as you wanted. I would have liked to have seen something new in this, but if you're starting Deathguard and you didn't have Dark Imperium, this is not a bad place at all to begin. There's loads more to say about the Deathguard, and I've got other stuff to talk about. I love my Deathguard, but for the meantime, that was the first look at the new Combat Patrol. Thank you for watching.